kind of back to the South Carolina question, like I always had a tremendous amount of respect for that place. I always thought that it was just a cool place because they were a little bit like Mississippi State in a sense where, man, when you played them, you better pack your freaking lunch pail. Like it's going to be, we're probably going to win, but I tell you what, we better earn it, and it was going to be hard. And if they get hot, look out. And that's what happened in 10. I mean, they just couldn't miss. Alshon had a ridiculous day. We had a couple of young corners that struggled with his size and his catch making ability. Coach was calling a really nice game, mixing up screens and, Lattimore on like little tiny screens and things like that. Steven Garcia got hot. So it was one of those where we kind of ran into a buzzsaw a little bit. And we hadn't at that point played well. We had lost earlier, or we had won earlier in the year against Arkansas at their place, and we did not play well in that game.
I remember y'all were down.
Yeah,
I remember you led the comeback. Yeah.
We ended up coming back and winning it, but it wasn't pretty. I mean, it was one of those like, man, we got a lot of things to address. So we were kind of playing with fire a little bit at that point of the season. A lot of the young guys, I think, just thought because they put a Bama uniform on, we'd show up and we win. And it wasn't that way. That was a really young team in 2010. Now people will look back at it after the fact and say, well, my goodness, that might have been the most talented Saban ever had. Sure. But you have 3 freshmen on the offensive line that are starting: Chance Warmack, Anthony Steen, and DJ Fluker. 2 of the 3 end up being top 10 picks, but at that point they were freshmen. Obviously you had a veteran at left tackle, you had a veteran at center. And then the receivers were the same. The running backs were the same. And I was the same, but we had a lot of youth up front. So we had a lot of inconsistencies running the football, and the protection really at that point was not great. We just hadn't really quite figured it out. And then defensively, we were really young at corner. Drake Kirkpatrick and D. Milner ultimately both ended up being first rounders, but they had some inconsistencies. At safety, we were breaking a new guy opposite Mark Barron, had some inconsistency. That team had a remarkable we all tried really hard. We all studied really hard. We all did everything that we needed to do, that we thought we needed to do to be successful. And we had good leadership. We had strong leaders: Dante Hightower, me, Barron, Julio, a bunch of guys that were very strong leaders, but we just, for whatever reason, when one part of the ball was up, the other part of the ball was down. When the offensive line was running the ball well, we couldn't throw it, or we couldn't protect. It was just, we could never quite get on the same page. And if you look at it, we ran into a buzzsaw at South Carolina, and then we lose by 3 points against LSU after they run a 30-yard fake punt and convert on 3rd and 18 with Jarrett Lee. How that's possible, I still don't know. We had no business losing that game, but we somehow found a way to do it. And then against Auburn, against Cam and company, we're up 24-0. We have every possible bounce that goes away from us. And there's no excuses, man. We weren't the best team in the country that year, but we were a lot closer than I think people realized. The one bad outlier being the South Carolina performance, where they just had our number that day.